Hello. Hope you've had a good week. I do believe we had a few patches of British blue in the sky, and I think I saw some sunshine, but I can't remember when. You'll have noticed that each week I'm taking a subject, and that's because I'm doing a different track from the new CD, First Farewell. And this week it's peace, because of the next to last song on the CD, How I Long for Peace. And whenever you talk about peace, you of course have to talk about war. In the Anglo-American folk songs, the battlefields have been, for the most part, within the family, or they've been within the community, sometimes class warfare. And then we rented out, in the Anglo-American songs, we rented out the lowlands of Holland, and nations would come in and fight on those flat fields of Holland. But now we can go all the way across the globe and kill people that we have never seen, and we can kill them en masse without ever facing them across a battlefield. And that's what this song is. New words to a tune by Stephen Sondheim, new words by Charlie King. Isn't it strange? Aren't they a pair? One sitting safe on the ground, one in midair. Never leave home, never ask why. One rolls a joystick around, one gets to fly. Which is the drone? Hundreds are dead, thousands are maimed. Digitized dolls on a screen, no faces, no names. Finish your 4-hour shift, time to go home. Far from the fray, address unknown. No name, no regret. Ask not for whom the bell tolls, fire and forget. Only a drone, a deniable drone, no problem. And yet, isn't it strange? Isn't it queer? Terror remotely controlled, a pilot's career. I started you in at the deep end, and you're going to get rather a lot of piano today, because I cut off the end of my thumb the other day with a very sharp knife, and I can't play the guitar and banjo really properly. Of course, the eternal battlefield is marriage. Now, in most of the folk songs, the wife, she's full of anger, but she comes through as a very positive person. She's not a victim who's sitting wallowing in misery. There's lots of proverbs about marriage, a huge number of them. Things like, the problem with wedlock is not enough wed and too much lock. But one that I think is so insightful. A man marries a woman expecting that she won't change, and she does. A woman marries a man expecting that he will change, and he doesn't. And of course, once you add drink to that, you've got the subject of this next song, which is by Mike Watterson. It's called Stitch in Time. Let's see, what key do we want to put this? Oh, there was a woman, and she lived on her own, and she slaved on her own, and she skivvied on her own. She'd 2 little girls and 2 little boys, and she lived all alone with her husband. For her husband, he was a hunk of a man, and a chunk of a man, and a skunk of a man. He was a hunk and a chunk and a drunk of a man. He was a boozin', bruisin' husband. For her husband come home drunk each night, and he bashed her black, he bashed her white. He thrashed her within an inch of her life, then he slept like a log, did her husband. One night she gathered her tears all around her shame, bathed her bruises, cried with pain. Oh, he won't ever do that again. I won't live with a drunken husband. But as he lay and snored in bed, oh, what a thought came into her head. She ran for the needle and ran for the thread, then straight into her sleeping husband. She started in with a girlish thrill, with a woman's heart and a seamstress skill. She bibbed and tucked with a right good will, all around her sleeping husband. Yes, the top sheet and the bottom sheet through, the blankets and the mattress too. She stitched and stitched the whole night through, then she waited for the dawn and her husband. Well, her husband woke with a pain in his head, and he found that he could not move in bed. Sweet Christ, I've lost the use of my legs. But this wife just smiled at her husband. For in her hand she held a frying pan, with a flutter in her heart she'd given him a lamb. He could not move, and he cried, "God damn! Don't you swear," says the wife to her husband. Then she thrashed him black, she thrashed him blue, with the frying pan and the colander too. With the rolling pin just a slash or two, such a battered and bleeding husband. If you come home drunk any more, I'll stitch you in and beat you sore. Then I'll pack my bag and be out of the door. I won't live with a drunken husband. Now, isn't it true what small can do, with a thread and a thought and a stitch or two? He's wiped his slate and his boozing's through. It's goodbye to a drunken husband. Make love, not war. Hell, do both. Get married. So this is a song I made myself out of the words of a friend named Gina, who came to do some typing for me. Now, Gina had been married for, I think, 25 years to her husband, and when she came to me, she was in the last 2 years of trying to divorce him, get free of him. Now, she was a chatterbox, and she would chat and chat and chat, and then she would stop and she would say what her friend Pat had said about the situation she was in. And then she'd say, uh-huh. And then she'd stop and think. And then she'd be back to the chatter again. So this was Gina's song as well as I can do it. And on this one, I can't memorize, so I have to put it with sellotape up onto the... There we go. Okay, this is her song called My Friend Pat. I didn't know very much about men until I married my husband. I didn't know very much about life when I promised to love and trust him. I didn't know how to cook or clean, no one ever taught me. But Pete just laughed and said it's not for housework that he got me. My friend Pat knows where it's at, says you didn't need any urging. But I feel sorry for poor old Pete, he went and married a virgin. I maybe didn't know very much about sex, I soon found out about babies. Then Pete went a little bit funny on me, just like I'd got the rabies. He bought me a car but would not let me take the driving lessons. Bought me a brand new washing machine to help cure my depression. My friend Pat's no diplomat, says Pete's a clever fella. He leaves you out in the rain, my girl, then buys you a new umbrella. Now the kids grew up and I flew off back to full-time typing. Pete took off to beer and golf, and soon we'd started fighting. The atomic household on its way to good old family fishing. I quit my job to work for free, getting Pete's commissions. My friend Pat says, look at that, she's gone and dumped her pension. You'll save him several grand a year. Just thought it's worth a mention. One night he tried new tricks in bed. I asked him who's been teaching. He never tried that way before. Then I found out he's cheating on me. Moved the family down to Spain. Then he shipped me back to Eltham. Filed a suit down in Madrid. He told the judge I'd left him. My friend Pat came in to chat, says nothing could be neater. Wife down the drain, divorce in Spain, then marry the senorita. We couldn't afford to live apart. For years we lived in silence. He never laid a hand on me. They call it mental violence. He stripped our joint account and turned our daughter dead against me. Sold my rings and the china tea set that my mother left me. He smashed the picture, spiked the mixer. He slashed my little sofa. Looked like Alibaba, and his boys had done us over. Telly, hi-fi, pots and pans, the fixtures and the fittings. Then it finally dawned on me, Pete was splitting. My friend Pat says, that's that, possessions, you don't need 'em. You're going Dutch and that ain't much to pay to get your freedom. He talks to me through a lawyer now. We're going 50-50 on house and gardens, curtains, carpets, all that he's not lifted. That leaves me with my health, my wits, and me at the age of 60. A sense of humor saw me through, and that's been always with me. Me and Pat, we have a little laugh to think of all he's losing. A loyal wife, a slave for life, who after all did choose him. There's a couple of fellas coming around. I love 'em all for trying. They're great old boys and I'm a great old gal, and I'm not gonna sit here crying. They come and chat up me and Pat. Some nights we go out dancing. Then I come home and live alone, but after the romancing. My friend Pat, she's a bit of a cat, and whenever we're diverging, she says, I feel sorry for poor old Pete. He went and married a virgin. Gina loved the song. She really loved it. But those were all her words. They're her words. Now I'm going to do something I have never done in public. I don't think I ever have, unless it's at a lecture. But I somehow don't feel that we're public. That this is like a big living room. A big living room. So, face-to-face battling went worldwide. But really the face-to-face presence of the effect of war is beautifully expressed in this song. It's a Northumbrian song called The Recruited Collier. To me, it is a perfect portrait of a happening in a family when the teenage boy goes to town, gets drunk, and signs himself into the army with the recruiting sergeant. They travel taking advantage of young boys. He comes home swaggering with his cockade on, and you see the whole thing, the girl, heartbroken, and her father running for the golden guinea. Obviously, that shows you they didn't have a lot of money. This golden guinea was saved, etc. I think it's just beautiful from a time when the British were turning the whole world into a colonized battlefield. The Recruited Collier, and I'm not singing it with any trace of Northumbrian. I just love the song. What's the matter with you, my lass? Where's your dashing Jimmy? The soldier boys have picked him up and taken him far from me. Last Friday he went to the town, and them red-coated fellas enticed him in. They made him drunk, and he's better gone to the gallows. The very sight of his cockade set us all a-crying, and me, I nearly fainted twice. I thought that I was dying. My father would have paid the smart, and he ran for the golden guinea. But the sergeant swore he'd kissed the book, so now they've got my Jimmy. When Jimmy talks about the wars, it's worse than death to hear him. I must go out and hide my tears, because I cannot bear him. A brigadier or grenadier, he says they're sure to make him. And he jibes and cracks his jokes, and bids me not forsake him. As I walked over the stubble field, below it lies the seam, I thought of Jimmy hewing there, but it was all a dream. He hewed the very coals we burn, and when the fire I'm lightin', to think the lumps was in his hands, it sets my heart a-beating. So break my heart, and then it's o'er, so break my heart, my dearie, and I'll lie in the cold, cold ground, for a single life I'm weary. I had an uncle who died in the First World War. He signed himself in, and it broke my grandmother's heart. She just apparently was never the same. So this is the last song. It's from the album, which, as I said, is giving us a lot of pleasure. Let's see what key I'm supposed to be in here. I've just learned how to transpose on the piano so that it can follow my voice wherever my voice feels like at this particular time of day. Yeah. Now you're going to hear my clock. 12 o'clock. So time is moving on, and we all are longing for peace of mind. That's what Gina said. She wanted peace in her life. She wanted peace of mind. We want peace for our beautiful planet. And we want to finally to find peace with each other as humans and as a species with the rest of those who inhabit the earth. So this is how I long for peace. My clock's lovely. Oh, how I long for peace among the peoples and the nations. How I long to halt the plunder of the wonders of creation. Oh, how I long for peace. I cannot understand how the sisters, wives, and mothers cannot stop the slaughter of the husbands, sons, and brothers. Oh, how I long for peace among the peoples and the nations. How I long to halt the plunder of the wonders of creation. Oh, how I long for peace. There never can be peace till men abandon fighting as the way to deal with problems that prevent us from uniting. Oh, how I long for peace among the peoples and the nations. How I long to halt the plunder of the wonders of creation. Oh, how I long the profits made from war. There's few that can resist them. Hypocrisy and greed control the lifeblood of our system. Oh, how I long for peace among the peoples and the nations. How I long to halt the plunder of the wonders of creation. Oh, how I long for peace. The earth can wait no longer for political permission. Sit down, disrupt, do anything to make the whole world listen. Oh, how I long for peace among the peoples and the nations. How I long to halt the plunder of the wonders of creation. Oh, how I long for peace. And what you heard then was me not putting my phone on to silence. Somebody has sent me a text. In these times when it's so easy for there to be aggression and confrontation and arguing, trying to be the agent for peace wherever you can, not joining in on it, trying to soften the edges, the sharp edges of the way we get along with each other, trying to be the peacemaking force is wonderful. Callum and I have made a video of this song with him playing the guitar along. You can find some note to it on my website, peggyseeger.com. I just love playing with my boys. I also love talking to you every week. I look forward to it. It's a real bright spot in my day when I feel I am really communicating with you. So have a good week. I don't know what we're going to do next week, but it's nice to have surprises, to open the package on your birthday, not the day before. So thank you. Be good, be kind, stay safe. Don't break the rules.